What's up, you guys? Happy Friday. Our children are actually losing their minds today.
It's
so
Friday. Then they've been stuck in the house for 2 months. And school's going by. Carson had to say goodbye to a teacher.
Yeah. But on that note, you guys, 10 years ago. Hi, Amanda.
How's your wrist doing?
We opened CrossFit Surge. So we're going to take today and we're actually going to chat with you guys about what we've learned. Hi, Nate. Nate was one of the OG people. So we've been talking today.
I think it's just on a sense of reflection. I think because a lot of times, yet again, those of you that have seen the last almost 60 episodes of the things we've been talking about, but I think, one thing that we've been able to, that's good to hear, is really, for both of us, I think we've really have learned to embody is a sense of gratitude, right? And I think for the longest time, it was like, sweet, this is a milestone, like let's work on and go to the next one without actually appreciating the moment in time and actually looking back at the path in which you've been able to walk to get to your current circumstance. Because I know for me, it was always, okay, that's great, but that's just where I am right now. And it's always looking forward to trying to accomplish, right? And it's like, well, if you can't appreciate the steps in which you've already gone through, you're probably not going to appreciate the steps that you are going to make in the future as well, right? And so it's being able to be present and be able to really take that sense of gratitude and honor where you've been and the things you've learned and all the different things that have come about. And, for us looking back of 10 years, I know for myself of looking back through our old archive, post last night of 10 years ago, right? It put me right back in that emotional and that memory of what it was like 24 hours before we opened up, of being at the gym at
4 hours before
being at the gym at 2:30 in the morning with Courtney falling asleep on the squat rack before we opened the doors for the first time to have a barbecue and all the first workout we ever had. But we want to be able to, I think for today, we're going to kind of give a little bit backstory and just kind of reminisce a little bit. But I think more for anything, it's just in the sense of honoring the fact of everything that, from the 10 years ago, I probably would never have thought this day would be here. So.
Yeah. So what have we learned on this, right? I think there's some really big takeaways and things that are a little bit surreal today. And I'm all emotional today. So whatever, that is what it is. But so short of the story, the beginning of it was Brandon and I met in September, late September of 2009. We decided we should open a business, I think in January or February of 2010. We found a space, talked to the guy.
Well, I think what that is, Courtney and I was a personal trainer. She had her own personal training company that she ran from in-home and everything else. And we were trying to build things in other places, right? I was trying to build it at the location I was at. That was not having it. We tried to build it at another location that didn't have anything. And the director was like, you guys can't do that here. Literally it was the neighborhood loved us. Everything was going, but there was so much bureaucracy surrounding, there was a lot of rules surrounding what we could and could not do. And so it was basically yet again, the universe life has a way of pushing you in the direction of where it feels that you should be based off of what you're putting out there, right? And it's whether or not you want to read the signs and take it in the direction you want to, right? I'm a big believer of life will direct you in the path in which you want to go if you put it out there. It's up to you to read the signs and take the action in order to do it, right? And so for us, that was the thing that look, that's great you guys want to do this. The path you're going isn't necessarily the right path of what is being allotted. So you guys need to do this.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the two things, right? Faith over fear. We had 100% faith, maybe dumb faith that we can do this. And commit first, figure it out later. That was absolutely what we did, right? Yes, we both knew obviously that we were meant to be together and this was going to work out. And we didn't tell anyone that we'd been together that long when we opened the gym, but we just knew that was the thing, right? And looking back, I had some business, I had helped my parents run a snowmobile dealership. So I had done some of that, but really Brandon was pretty young, right? He was 26. I was 32, 33, I guess. 30, yeah. 30, I just turned 33. So, we looked at this space and made the guy an offer we didn't think he would take. Now, granted, this is 2010, so
so the market was, we were very fortunate. The market at the time was in the low of before it obviously jumped back up before this now current scenario.
Yeah. So rent was $1,000 a month for 2,500 square feet, which seemed like a lot of money to us at that point, because we literally, like, we were both starving personal trainers. We did not have money. And we're like, yeah, we can do this. We'll figure it out, right? And we did. So he and his dad did construction for...
Yeah, it was like our original space was initially a like ceiling tile place that was like not taken care of at all. So like, but it was luckily, like, I mean, yet again, like I will give, you know, my heart to my parents of like, yeah, like putting it out there, like without their, like, first off, my dad literally working from like sun up to sundown for that first like month and a half of doing construction, and directing us, because he owned his own business forever, painting and tearing down and building and doing all this stuff. And obviously,
and before it was a car dealership, so it smelled like oil. So there's a lot of that we had to get rid of. And anyway,
so I mean, there was a lot of things that we got a lot of help for, to help us get started through all of this. You know, my mom helping us out. You know, my dad obviously doing a lot of the manual labor and helping out with all those kind of things. And, you know, I think there was just a lot of blind sense of like, this is what we're doing, right? Like, I mean, like once that we signed the lease, it's like, shit, this is really going to happen, and we don't have any other choice to do it, right?
Well, I think we knew, like, the whole time our passion was we wanted to help people and we wanted to do it in our way, right? And that was the first indicator for both of us that, like, we were willing to do whatever it took, however it took to do it. We just didn't want people to tell us that we couldn't serve our clients and help our clients in the way that we wanted to. And that was really the catalyst that pushed us into owning our own business. And I think we had one conversation about how we were going to run the business together. One.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the conversation was like, I think there was one part where I was like, okay, well, if this is your deal and I'm like working for you, that's not going to work. And he was like, okay, we'll just do this together. And, you know, there was some of the legal stuff, but I mean, really it was like, all right, let's do this. And so off we went, right? So first space, 2,500 square feet. Obviously we didn't have children that we have now. So got our first space. 2,500 square feet. First couple years, they were great. It was all, you know, we had a lot, like, not a lot, we had clients from, you know, that we had before that came and trained with us. No one knew what CrossFit was. Like, let's just be honest. Like, we paid for the affiliate, and I remember Brandon's dad being like, why do you need the name, right? And it was before CrossFit was what it was. So we paid for the name. We were teaching people CrossFit. They didn't know what it was. They just liked what we were doing and wanted to be a part of it, right? We, first couple years, where did we live? So literally, we had $0 to our name. Like, I'm not exaggerating. People sometimes ask us, like, do we have separate bank accounts? Do we combine it? And I'm like, I don't think we ever had a conversation, because it was like, well, do you have any money to eat? Do I have any money to eat? And it was just blind faith, like, we're gonna make this work. So
no, and when we initially opened, I think
you lived in Denver.
We lived in Denver at my place, and then we moved in with my dad and stepmom. Thereafter, lived with them back in my old room in our basement. Lived there for a while. Then did we go to
yeah? Then my brother's house was a long story. But
well, you lived with a roommate.
Yeah, I lived with a crazy roommate.
Random roommate found on Craigslist for a little while.
It was a terrible choice.
And then we ended up moving into a house that her brother and sister-in-law were getting foreclosed on at the time, and so we knew the time duration on there was going to allow it. They were doing their own thing, moving in the midst of it, but the bank was going to foreclose on it for several months.
So it was going to be vacant and free-ish, but it was this ginormous house that we couldn't afford to heat because it was so big. So we literally spent all of our time in one bedroom and we watched movies. We didn't have cable.
We had internet. We didn't have, we had
internet. We didn't have cable. So we literally, like, our weekend thing was like go to Blockbuster, get a movie, and like watch them over and over again. We still have them all. But that was like, I think the interesting thing we were talking about this was none of this ever seemed like a sacrifice, right? Like none of it ever seemed like, oh, I should just go get a job. I could make all this money. Like none of that was ever a sacrifice, because we loved what we were doing and we loved the people that we were getting to help and the people that came into our life. And so it just didn't matter, right? None of it mattered.
Well, and I think with that, you guys, and I think, the part that, going back and reminiscing for us is being able to see how so much of the things yet again we've been talking about for the last 60 episodes of implementing, of how much our stories and how much our fears and how much all these things tend to inhibit us from going in the direction that we want to go in, right? And like, we don't just speak on that just on the sense of like, because it's good in theory and that's because we read a book or we had some guru tell us on a podcast or whatever. It's like, well, we like literally we had no money. Like we literally were scraping together every single thing that we could to live and go in the pursuit of our passion, because we knew that it could drive bigger things, because we had a bigger mission behind what we were wanting to do, right? And it's on the sense of looking back, like I literally can't recall it being like getting that standpoint of like, man, this sucks, right? This should not be us. This should, like, don't get me wrong, like there are times as like a business owner and entrepreneur of like, this shouldn't, like, the scenario we're in, we shouldn't be here, right? Like we are putting our aspirations, what we feel we're like, there are those things that come around from time to time, but more than anything, there's also the time of like, well, what's the alternative to this, right? Because we do get that asked that question under certain circumstances, like the times that we're feeling right now of, well, wouldn't it be easier just to get a normal job and just get a paycheck, do these kind of things? Yes and no, right? Like, would it be like
100%?
But like, would it be like to know that you have X? Like, if I work this amount of hours, I'm gonna have this amount of income coming in. Okay, you can call that stability. You can call that whatever you want. To us, like that doesn't really that doesn't allow us to live what we want or what we've always visioned for ourselves, right? Of knowing that I may work 60, 80 hours a week, but at the same time, that's our passion, that's our love, that's our mission, that's us trying to serve every single person we come in contact with, right? Like it's not just on a monetary aspect, right? Like yes, don't get me wrong, there are aspects of what I feel our value is, especially after doing this for so long, but at the same time, like that has never been our driving force. It has always been our mission to serve and to help every person that we come in contact in whatever element we can through their journey, right? Like it's always been the element of passion, the element of community, the element of love that has driven us from day one. And really looking back at even just those time frames of almost like living on the ramen noodle college type of thing, right? Like even looking back at it, like it almost has this like romantic almost feel surrounding of like almost humor of like we were literally living in a house that was going to be like you are going to be forced to move at some point where you didn't have any cable. You went to Blockbuster to get $3 movies every single week.
Nobody knew that.
And nobody knew this, right?
Like nobody knew how long we'd been together. Like nobody knew any of that. And that wasn't the point, right? Because when we opened the gym, we knew it was going to be about community, and we had absolutely no idea how amazing it was going to be, right? And so today we were talking to a lot of the people that were there this morning, and we can have 3 people at a time. But of the people that were there this morning, I think at least 8 of them have been with us for more than 7 years. So when you talk about community, like how many of you can say you've been at the same gym for 7 years? How many of you have done anything for 7 years? Right?
The same people for 7 years.
With 7 years, right? And so we were just talking about, yes, like making it as a business is amazing, but the really cool parts are like seeing people grow up, right? Like we have like one of our coaches started when he was 17. He was this like kid in high school that just didn't want to swim anymore. So his mom said, you got to do something. And he's like, cool, I'm going to CrossFit. And now he's one of our coaches. He's amazing, right? He's 24, right? So like literally like seeing these people grow up. We've grown up. When we started, nobody had kids. Well, and now
Chip's also one of our coaches. He was one of our founding members, kind of. He came in, like he was one of my original clients at Mountainside, and then came over, did a workout, and was like, this is ridiculous, and then left and came back again.
And we did that same workout today, and he was there today. And I mean, it's like when you think about life and the things you're going to look back at, right? When we talk about the money side of things, yes, money is amazing and it makes life easier in a lot of aspects, but it's not the thing that would ever get us up at night, right? And it was the people, it was the stories, it was the changes that they would see, it was the relationships they developed together, right? We had Steph and Justin met at the gym, went on to get married, right? Like Steph's on the Hunger for Happiness journey with me. Like there's just been so many human aspects of the last 10 years that make us beyond grateful. Where you can really look back and say, like we've been honored to have a part of thousands of people's journeys, to health, to friendships, to like just, I mean, it's crazy to think what can happen in 10 years, right? And what the business has been through, because it's never, yes, it's a business, but there's been so much stuff, right? So 2010, we had 2,500 square feet. 2012, we expanded and got married, right?
Yeah,
Yes. We don't know when we got married. So we expanded, we got married. If you've never seen our wedding video, we're literally in the midst of expansion. We're getting married and CrossFit HQ calls and says, hey, we want to do a drop-in visit. And I'm like, what? No. And then Brandon's like, well, I talked to him. They want to come cover our wedding. So we got a professional photographer that came to the gym, did all the things. We did a ball and chain workout. It was amazing. Came and filmed our wedding and then made us a professional wedding video, which was like the coolest thing ever, and random timing and all the things. So we did that in 2012. We expanded to what, 4,800 square feet. Went on to then get pregnant, right? We got married in September. We got pregnant in November. Yes, we were trying. I was getting old. We needed to have kids. Then when did we expand again? 14?
Yeah.
2014, we took another section. So we were at like 8,000 square feet.
Yeah. Which was very big.
We did not need that much space, but again, we had the beauty of having a landlord that was a amazing guy, handshake, like, yeah, let's make a deal, this makes sense, you know. And so like, why wouldn't we? And so went through all that. What else happened? I mean, in all of that, it was just, I mean, we moved into a condo, we did all the things, but again, it wasn't about that. It was about the people. And I really think like that's what we've been talking about, is the people that have come in, right? Like Brandon did the CrossFit Kids workout today. We're doing kids classes online. And it's basically the same workout that we did that was his very first CrossFit workout that we did on our opening day. Today did it with his daughter, right? Like looking back, I don't think we would have said, oh, 10 years from now, you're going to be coaching this to your daughter, who's this little tiny, like, stud athlete because she grew up in a gym. But like seeing the friendships of the kids that were born into the gym and the people that have come in and the things that they do outside of the gym, right? It's so much more than just like squats and pull-ups. It has not much to do with squats and pull-ups, right?
And I think that's the part that I think looking back on, because I mean, obviously when we first opened up, CrossFit was very unknown, right? Like, I mean, we had a 10-mile radius around us. Like, you couldn't find another gym or even probably find anyone that knew what CrossFit was, right? And like now, obviously, you pull up a map looking for a CrossFit gym. It kind of looks like your phone or computer has like a virus because there's blips all over the screen of it, right? But trying to explain, because that was me initially trying to explain the difference between what this is to my parents, right? Like, why would you go do this and everything else? And like trying to get them to understand that was, looking back of, like I said, with like, this is our business, but that's the part that I try to explain and resonate to every person that comes into our door is we look at it as more of a family, right? And I think that was probably the coolest thing that my dad's ever really said when he has talked about our gym and our facility, is that you guys are a family, right? Like, it's a community and it's a family. And I mean, I don't want to drag this thing out, but there's been a few times in my life that I can look at something and be like, that was Grace teaching me something. And, me being introduced to CrossFit in the manner I was between my director of the facility I was at, but also at the first competition I ever did, and have somebody be able to stand there that I ever knew from a walk of life, be able to stand there and coach me and cheer me on, was like, there's something much different here, and we need to help spread this message and help spread that love, right? And I think that's one thing that has held us to our mission of everything that we do, and really be on today of looking back of not only the current members that we have at the gym, but also, every person that's ever walked in the door, whether it was they came in for a workout for one day or they've been with us since day one, is just on the honored aspect of being able to have that interaction in our lives, and just that little bit of sense of appreciation for literally every person. Because literally, I know it gets overstated, I know it gets oversaid, but on the sense of like, we literally feel like every single person that we've ever come in contact with that's come through our doors or walked in or come in for a charity event or whatever we've done literally feels like family, right? And I know that's a hot word because people like to sell different things or whatever, but like, that is true to each and every one to us, because most people don't know our story and don't understand. Like, we were literally like broke to scratching for everything just so we could stay open and like living off and moving around and doing all these different things. And, it means so much to us to be able to say like 10 years, because statistically, like, it is a milestone to pass by this, right? And like, we get told that all the time, like, wow, you guys have made it, you guys have survived it, you guys statistics, like, to us, that never really has been like, a high five, like, sweet, we made past the milestone, right? But being able to celebrate like a decade of doing something that we love and that we still love and we still find evolving and growing and just expanding in different ways that we can serve and meet our clients and meet different people in different realms. Like, this truly means a lot to us today. And, you know, I can't say enough of that. Has more to do with every person that has come through our doors than just us.
It has way
right?
less to do about
yes,
us. Like we set the tone, but the reason Surge is what it is because of the people inside the doors. Because everyone welcomes each other with open arms.
Yes.
Everybody, like, right now it's really hard because we can't high five and we can't like shake people's hands of new people that come in and they're
that's
like,
always been
hi!
that's always been our rule,
right? Is like make people feel welcome, because it's scary when you walk in the door and then you get in and you're like, wow, this is just an amazing group of people, right? And I was thinking about stuff that's happened, right? So one of our members came down with breast cancer at a really young age. We had a fundraiser for her where her best friend and her niece shaved her head to make a wig for her. She's amazing. She was on live this morning. She's doing amazing. We've held a fundraiser for Barbells for Boobs we're like one of it's like 20 gyms in the nation that have done it from the very get-go. And it was like 20 people in a parking lot, right? And now it's hundreds of people. And it's just, it's that piece. And it's seeing those things where you can have impact with community. And like, we are so driven by community, which is why like all of our coaching, whether we do it in the gym, whether it's, what we do outside of the gym with Shift, like we believe in groups, we believe in community, and living through a pandemic and having like 90% of our members, stay with us, do it online. Like it's a really amazing feeling of the people that show up for each other and do the things. And it's just, it's just amazing. So we're beyond grateful.
Yes. I think it kind of is an unfortunate aspect that, we were hoping for a grand,
we'll have a
celebration. And we are working on some things that I think will blow people away even further once we're able to at least reveal that. But I think, today, you guys, I think more than anything is we really want to say from a heartfelt aspect of everyone is we are so thankful. We love every single person that has ever come through the doors, whether you've been a member or not. And for just the aspect of us being able to share our vision, share our mission, share our passion. And yet again, it's not about us. It's literally about every single person that's part of our Surge family to be able to say that 10 years ago today, that we are able to celebrate and acknowledge all the things.
I just want to tell you that in 10 years, we'll have a 16-year-old. So don't blink, right? But 2 things I want you guys to take away, because this isn't about us. So first, faith over fear. Have faith in whatever you want to go do in your life right now. Just go do it. Commit first, figure it out later. It'll always work out, right? If you wait until you're ready for whatever you're waiting on, whether it's a business, whether it's a relationship, whatever it is, like, commit to it and do it, right? Like, you'll figure it out. What would someone tell us one time about entrepreneurship? It's like jumping out of a plane and then building your parachute or your plane on the way down. It's true, but you'll figure it out, right? So take that right now today, live in faith, let the fear go, commit to what you want to do, and go for it. So one side note, because Nate just gave us a little heart. Hi, Chris. So we did Nate was not living in Colorado, but his mom lived around the street from around the corner from the gym, came in, did a workout with us. We're like, hey, we're doing this like city race. What was, I can't remember what it was called, but it was it was like a Tough Mudder, but it was in town. So Nate came and did it with us. And so, I mean, Nate's probably pushing like one of our like longest term members, and he still doesn't live in Colorado. But yeah, so it's just those memories that are amazing. And those of you who have been with us for 2 weeks or 6 months, like, we appreciate you. We love you. And yeah, we're just super grateful. So we will not be on this weekend, so we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Monday is Murph. If you're a CrossFitter and you want to do something, we're gonna attempt to do some things outside and get a little creative. So we appreciate you guys. Metro Dash, there you go.
Metro Dash, good call there, man.
We still have those pictures, so it was awesome. But I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing weekend. Celebrate everyone on Memorial Day, and hopefully this was kind of fun. We'll talk to you guys then. All right, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day.